It was very humbling because I realized that I'm the problem. And that's hard to say, uh, but I am. Like, I was the problem. We're back. We're back, and my coffee's getting cold. I have a hat on today because it is hair wash day and it's just kind of gross in there, and I still need to go to the gym. So that's that. But it's Friday and I get my kids tonight. And on Friday nights that I have them, we do what we have coined Friday night movie night. Creative name, I know. But Friday night movie night is just kind of like a fun like family tradition that we've started now, uh, being divorced. And it's just a fun thing we do on Friday nights where we watch a movie. But we make it super special and super fun because we do a sleepover in my bed. So all of us sleep in my bed. It's me and Cal and Cora, so a almost 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a giant dog, and a cat, and we all sleep in my bed. Luckily, I have a king size bed, so it works. If it was not king sized, we would not fit. But we pop popcorn, we get some candy, and we pick out movies. Sometimes it's new movies, sometimes it's movies we've seen. Sometimes we fall asleep before it's over. Um, but we all get to sleep together and it's a fun thing. So if you do like fun family traditions, whether you're divorced or not, I want to know about it. I love hearing family traditions. I think family culture is a very interesting thing. How every family just like values and prioritizes things differently is so cool to me. So let me know. Tell me in the comments. Today, I wanted to bring it back to some divorce specific content, and not just divorce specific, but like divorced with kids specific, where you do have to co-parent with the other party. Um, Around that specifically, I wanted to talk about communication. I would like to go ahead and start off by saying I am not an expert. I am not the end all be all. I do not know everything. I only know my experience and what I've learned in my experience, and I want to share that with other people because I do think it can be helpful. It's not necessarily going to help everybody, but it can be helpful to a lot of people. So, that being said, communication is a huge deal. One thing that I have learned in this whole process is that the issues that you have while you're married will likely be the same or very similar to the issues that you have when you're divorced. The people you divorce don't just magically become the person you want them to be. They are still the same person that you were married to. And so your issues still stem from the same place. They may look a little different because you're not married anymore, but they still stem from the same place. So people don't just magically change. People do change. People do change. I have changed a lot in the last year, and I'm sure he has as well. And I'm not just going to sit here. I also want to say that I'm not just going to sit here and bash on him because he is incredible, and like, our co-parenting relationship is so much better than so many people's. I've seen some pretty ugly situations out there, and that's not our reality. We both work very hard to maintain level-headedness and to keep our kids at the front. Like, the kids are the priority, not us. And so I'm very, very thankful for that, and I appreciate him so much. But we still do have our own issues. So communication's a big deal. And I'm just gonna like go ahead and jump into a story about something that happened to me this last week. It's been the last 2 weeks that we've kind of been dealing with it. But from the beginning, when we first separated, if you will, I was very clear on I didn't really communicate this though. Communication. I was very clear on the fact that I wanted my time to be my time and his time to be his time. That's what I wanted. I didn't say that out loud, for odds and ends of reasons, but that's what I wanted. And he has wanted to talk to them on the phone during my time. And I've battled that a little bit. I have really, really struggled with that because it's my time and I don't want to have to rearrange my schedule for you to have time on my time. Um, and his whole thing is that, well, I just want a few minutes to talk to them. I haven't seen them for 3 or 4 days, and I would like to touch base and say hi and make sure they know that I love them. And that's a good thing. And so I've battled with that because who am I to say that their dad can't talk to them? He loves them. He wants them to know that, and he wants to make them a priority. And so he's talking to them, and that's a good thing. But it's my time. And so a couple weeks ago, we were out at dinner at my mom's house, and this was the second or third time that this has happened where he had texted and wanted to talk to them, and we were out there. And so I just said, like, we have to stop this. We need to get on the same page with this because I can't continue to step away from family gatherings or, have them call you on the way home and throw off our whole night schedule. I don't want to continue doing that. And he was like, we need to talk about it. Can you call me? And I was like, whew, I was mad. My emotions were very elevated and I was flustered. I was frustrated. This has been a culmination of everything up to this point for the last almost a year, kind of coming to a head. And so I was like, no. I said, no, we can't talk about this right now. I'm really emotional about it. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on what my boundary is because I've personally been at battle with myself on should I let him talk to them or should I not? Like, so I need to get clear. And so I just said no. I would like to think about it. I would like to talk about it and get some perspective from some friends and we can talk about it again another time. And he said okay. And I, really appreciated that. And it was one of those times where like I drew a line and I knew coming into this conversation emotionally was only going to end it poorly. We were not going to end up on the same page. And I was not going to be happy with where the boundary was set. And so I needed to get clear with myself first before I came into the conversation. And so I did. So I took some time and I talked to some friends, I talked to my mom, and I gained some perspective. And, it was very humbling because I realized that I'm the problem. And that's hard to say, but I am. Like, I was the problem because my pride was trumping my kids' well-being, right? Like, what is best for them wholeheartedly is to be able to talk to their dad. And yes, it's on my time. And yes, I rearrange schedules or whatever, adjust my day accordingly. But is that really that big of a deal? No. It feels like it is sometimes. It really does. But if it's for the kids, it's probably okay. So I got clear with myself and I said, your pride is getting in the way, Tay. So how can we set our pride aside and establish clear boundaries so that it's not a constantly frustrating thing? That's a huge deal. Setting the boundaries is it's a big deal. Knowing where your boundary lies is a big deal. And so I eventually reached back out and said, okay, I'm ready to talk about this. And that's really not technically how it happened. He had texted me and was like, can we talk about it? And I was like, there's nothing really left to talk about. He was like, yeah, there is. And so then we talked about it, and we talked about it over the phone. I didn't want to because our phone conversations don't always go very well. But we did. I pushed my pride aside for that. And we talked on the phone and I established boundaries. And I said, I want you to be able to talk to the kids. And I want to be able to talk to the kids when they're with you. But we can't make it a daily thing. We cannot make it a ongoing thing. It cannot just be whenever you want, because it is my time. So the agreement is you can, text or call or try to call them once or twice a weekend. You have to trust that I am going to prioritize getting back to you, letting them call you, and vice versa. But it cannot be an ongoing thing. And you have to understand that no means no. And if we are busy and we're traveling or we're with family or we're, whatever, we have an event or we're doing whatever, that I can say no. We're allowed to say no. And just like establishing that boundary and saying it out loud, like, this is my expectation and this is, where I want this to land on my side, was so powerful. And being able to say that without the emotion attached to it, right? So easily I can jump in and be like, no, I don't want it because of blah, blah, blah. And you just do yada, yada, yada. And I can make accusations all day long. And I can say, you made me mad and you're pissing me off and yada, yada, yada. But that's not helpful. That doesn't move the ball forward. Setting aside your pride and humbling yourself and communicating clearly and directly with your co-parent is what's going to be best for the kids. Not communicating about your emotions, not telling them how awful they are or how they made you mad when they did X, Y, Z. That's not helpful. Setting aside your pride is helpful. And so I have a lot of friends that are also divorced, and there's a lot of them that communicate very emotionally, and they're, it's hard. It's hard to set aside your pride. That is a very difficult thing to do. But I think we can all benefit from taking a step back and getting clear with ourselves, humbling ourselves to be able to set aside that anger, to set aside that emotion, to be able to just talk and talk clearly and set clear boundaries. But you can't set clear boundaries if you're not clear with the boundaries with yourself. If you don't know what boundaries you want, if you don't know clearly what boundaries you want, you can't set boundaries with your co-parent. You can't. So you have to do that work. Like, we have to take that responsibility and do that work on ourselves in order to show up and be the best co-parent we can be for our kids. That's the reality of it. And communicating outside of that emotion is a big deal. So I just want to challenge you guys that I want to challenge you to try and humble yourselves a little bit this week. Try and humble yourselves. And I know this isn't the situation for everybody. There are some, I have a friend that this would not work. Like, there is just no communicating at all. Like, you just can't communicate with that person. And that's the reality for some people. And that's really unfortunate. So I'm hoping that maybe someone can see this video and get something from it and feel better about communicating with their co-parent a little bit better. I don't know. Hopefully it helps someone. If you relate to it at all, I want to hear about it. If you have any other communication tips with co-parenting, I want to hear about it. Throw it in the comments. I'd love to start just a dialogue of divorced parents that are talking about co-parenting and how we all navigate it, because it is uncharted territory. It is uncharted territory, and we're all learning and we're all growing, and we have to keep that in mind as we navigate it. We do. And first and foremost, those kiddos have to come first. They have to. You have to put their well-being above yours, because they didn't ask for the divorce. You guys did. So if you found this content relatable, helpful, or you have extra thoughts or feelings on it, like it, share it with a friend, go ahead and hit subscribe, follow along. I'd love to have you here, and then leave a comment. Let's start some dialogue in the comments. I'd love to see that start happening. So thank you for following along. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Bye.